Oh, thank you.
Hi everyone.
So, real quick before we start, by the way, folks, today's topics are going to be something about the nuclear family, or the changing of the nuclear family, right? And then also, is love a prison? So we're going to figure that out, because I have no clue where this is going to go, and I'm excited. I'm just as in the dark as everyone else, and that's how I like it. Okay.
Honestly, same.
Lavender, so how does it feel to, one, be the season finale of season 3, and then 2, already be an all-star? How does that feel?
It makes me feel so light. Like I'm floating, you know? Because to be a closer, that's one thing. But then to be brought back?
Yes. All-star.
I'm so honored.
You're not just brought back.
So honored.
All-star. Back
So
by
happy about
popular
it.
demand.
So people like me? That's crazy.
We love a good Lavender. We love Lavender.
Oh, I appreciate everyone so much, and especially you, a great host.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to be able to see season 4, and for one, to there be even an all-star season, but also to see season 4, because I almost quit.
Oh, we can't do that though.
We
It's so
can't
easy
do
to
that,
quit.
exactly.
We can't
do that. I was planning to quit after season 2. I was planning to quit during season 3. Here we are. So I'm just like, okay, season 5 is gonna happen, because like before I started season 4, like I was like, I'm gonna quit. And then I was just like, nope, here we are. So here we are, and we love that.
What was making you think you should quit? Was it just like the amount of work?
It was kind of like, I would say a comparison, comparing to like other like podcasters who I don't even know, probably will never meet. For example, like Logan Paul, Joe Rogan. You know, I just started seeing myself. And then I just kind of got like down on myself, just in general. So yeah, it was just all that mixed together. And then honestly, I don't know how to fully answer that, because I feel like there were other mitigating factors, but I just not able to verbalize it. But glad to still be here, you know.
Yes. I'm so glad you decided to push through.
Yeah, I definitely am the type of person where when it comes to certain things, not all things, but when it comes to certain things, like, I have these expectations that are very, they're not measurable for the time frame that I have. Like, I'm the type of person where I'm just wanting something
Fair.
to be, this is supposed to be like Logan Paul status, you know, level, and I'm just like, you haven't even been doing this for a year and a half, you know? So it's like I can kind of like go black and white with it and not, like, you know, recognize the gray areas.
Fair.
That makes sense.
Fair. Especially, I mean, and then you see people, like certain podcasts, how they do just take off like overnight, it seems like. So it's like, well, why can't that happen to me? Why isn't that happening to me? All this stuff.
Right.
But I'm very glad that you decided to keep pushing, because we're headed there. We're headed there.
We're headed there. And I'm glad, like, my higher power helped remind me, and myself reminded me that, like, why did we start the podcast to begin with? You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, boom, never want to forget that this podcast is strictly for healing folks and just bringing understanding and awareness to us all. You know, and so like, that's the main reason. That's why the podcast was started, to heal folks, to save someone's life.
To let people know that they're not alone. Create a sense of community.
Yes, bingo, bingo, boom, bingo. We love that. So, but yeah, thanks for asking. I don't know, it makes me feel more accountable, and it just makes me feel more motivated now that I'm able to just say that out loud. Because it's one thing to tell yourself, and it's one thing to like say it out loud, let alone say it out loud to someone else, you know?
Right, have that feedback. You know, hear it.
We love the feedback. We love a lavender feedback. Okay, so Lavender, take us through this journey. I don't know where you want to start first. I'm curious though, honestly, on both of them. Which subject matter would you like to start first? Take us through that journey.
I feel like maybe talking about the nuclear family first would like lead into it, help with that. So I wanted to talk about the nuclear family because, you know, I'm 25, I'll be 26 next year. And thinking back next year.
What month?
In June.
Oh, June.
I'm a Gemini, so people might not like Lavender no more after that. But it's just, I started thinking a lot more about where I am versus where I thought I would be when I was a kid. And you know, we're not there. And we're not there. You know, I was supposed to be married, I was supposed to have kids already, I was supposed to have my own house somewhere, like living this whole adult life, right? But the reality is, I'm just kind of starting in my career. Like, I just found something. I'm living at home with my parents, and I do have a serious partner, but we're not engaged and we're not married.
Right. Y'all are so adorable. I feel like his personality is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
I love when I get to bring him around, like my friends, because he's one of those guys where it's like, I'll just let my girl do what she wants to do. I'll be here in the background for support. I'll put my 2 cents in. But he doesn't like try to take the show.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He's just, I'm gonna let her do her. I'm gonna stand back and watch her.
Yes.
Like,
y'all look
do that.
Adorable. Y'all are so adorable. Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off subject. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
It is all good. He's very sweet. And I love him very much. So, anyway. But like, okay, yeah, and thinking about what our future could be like, what our household could look like. It's going to be nuclear in the fact that there'll probably be a mom, a dad, and a kid at some point. But the roles are going to be so much different than what we were taught when we were kids, what we had to do in those type of relationships. And that's where I want to get into like the changing of the nuclear family.
Yeah.
Because as we now know, gay people have been around forever.
Yeah.
This isn't just a new thing.
Right.
And now they have a few more rights, like they can be married and have all this stuff. So now it's not the nuclear family doesn't just look like a man, a woman, and a child.
Right.
To be a man, and a child.
Right.
Woman, and a child. Or no children.
Right.
Just fuck them kids. Okay?
I didn't even know what I was doing until you said it.
I love how you're just down. You're like, yeah.
You were something else.
That was funny.
That was funny. Love it.
So yeah, it's all changing, and I think as the nuclear family change, like who the players are, the roles have to change as well.
Yes.
So getting away with those gender norms and all that stuff. And I think that's what we really need.
Yeah.
Because they're not really helping.
Right.
At least they're not helping women.
It's limiting. It's very limiting, you know, and two comments that I want to make on that real quick before I forget is I love how you did, like, you know, the nuclear family, you know, how we were taught mom, dad, and now it's like dad, kid, you know? And my thing is, because at the end of the day, what is important is loving parent, children, or loving partner, no kids, whatever they do, you know what I mean? Just like loving and loving. And then the second thing is a lot of people don't know the difference between, you know, sex and gender. You know, gender, and folks who don't know, you know, I completely recommend, I encourage, you know, doing some digging and, you know, not just listening to like media because they want people to not know things. They want to cause division. They want us to, you know, act from our ignorances because they know we don't know everything. They know that we can learn things, but they're just counting on us not learning certain things.
Agreed.
Right, because confusion equals cash. You know, they want us to be confused on certain topics. So something that I, had to do some digging into is, you know, there's a difference between sex and gender. You know, sex is that, like, what you're born with, and a lot of people don't talk about how, like, someone can be born both sexes. It's very rare, but it's like, it is a thing. And then, gender is a man-made construct, literally. Like, so
just like race.
Yeah, exactly. So when people say there's only two genders, technically, no, because we just created what certain things should look like. And to also like throw a wrench in the plans for like debate is, you know, part of quote unquote gender norm is only females paint their nails. But back then, males were the ones that painted their nails. Females didn't paint their nails. It was looked upon. People say, oh, they're tired of seeing, you know, men in wigs and, you know,
men in dresses.
Right. Or, you know, also like, for example, like Mrs. Doubtfire and Medea, you know, people have said, well, they're funny, but I don't think men should be acting as women. I was like, y'all don't know that back then it was actually frowned upon for women to act in plays, so men had to. Yeah, and I was like, it was like that for centuries. So it's like
centuries.
Right. So it's like society. What is really the definition? Because it's just like it seems like we're gonna forever keep changing the definition. You know, and I'm just like Right. So I'm like, yeah, there can be more than two genders. Just because you recognize two and you were taught to doesn't mean that that's what it is. You know, that's
that's fact.
Right. And I know that's controversial. I know some people might disagree, but I'm like, that's literally the thing. Gender is a man-made construct. Literally, you go to other cultures, you're gonna see men with their nails painted. You're gonna see men with makeup on. You know, so it's just like, and their makeup kind of looks different. Like some people, they just like kind of paint their face. That's considered makeup. You know, for them, they call it culture and art.
Yeah.
But if they come to a different society, if they come to, you know, America, it's going to be seen as makeup. And then we're going to say, oh, men shouldn't have that. I'm just like, you know what? Gender is a man-made construct.
Yes.
That never existed until men, not necessarily men, but, well, yeah, but until people started to say, okay, this is what this is what that is. I'm like, it never existed. We created that and we continue to create and change that. And just change
that narrative.
Yes.
Yeah. It almost most likely definitely started with a colored person. And also the thing is, like, there's no like binary in nature. Like everything is a spectrum. Like even with animals, yes, there are male and female animals, but like some animals, the male hold the babies and give birth, or some animals like they can switch sexes depending on what their community needs. If they need to be more women,
male seahorses carry the babies, and clownfish switch sexes.
I'm so glad that you knew the animals I was talking about, because I'm like, there's some animal out there. I saw it at some point.
Right.
I love that. Thank you for coming with the facts. So it's just like nothing is one or the other.
Right.
As we should all know this now. It's so cliche, but it's not just black and white. There's always a gray. And the sooner that we can recognize the gray, because they're there, like I feel like the more peaceful everybody can be with themselves. Like men internally and women internally can be okay. That's the thing. And I'm sure you've heard and have kind of like recognized, and I didn't know it at the time, like just growing up, but like having words to it now, I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of men don't like women, you know?
I think I know where you're going with this. I think I heard this before, but continue. I think I know where you're going. Oh yeah, just drop the ball.
Drop it. Okay. A lot of men they just don't like women. They don't find us interesting. They don't care about us as people necessarily. They like to have something to show off to other men because they want men's validation. That's what a lot of men really want, is other men's validation. And how do you get that validation? You get a wife, you get a good job, you have a couple of kids, badass kids running around.
Yep.
And then you go out of the house and you're like, yeah, I got the whole ball and chain at home.
Yeah.
Or I got these kids.
You're a real man.
Yeah, you're a real man for that.
Yeah,
but at home,
girls, you're a real man.
You're a real. Okay.
Right. You're a mess. This is why you're an awesome.
It's just so ridiculous to think about. Like, the amount of people that a man has, or amount of sex that a man has, ties into his worth and can make him more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But then the same amount of people for a woman is like lesser of a value.
Exactly. What is up with that? Like, you don't ever hear people call. Well, it's like, I mean, you hear it now more, but it's like, for the longest, it seemed like women took the, like, the shame was placed on the women, not the man. You know?
Yeah.
Saying, oh, yeah, he's a hoe. No, just because he cheated on his wife with her, she's the hoe. And I was like, no. The man decided to cheat. He could have said no. You know what I mean? I'm just like, wait a minute. Like, people fist bump him for sleeping around with many girls, but if a girl sleeps around with many guys, oh, she's a hoe.
Oh, she's a hoe. She's used goods. No one's gonna take her seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we taking men seriously?
Right.
How about that?
Yes. To all the men listening, literally stick with this. We're not attacking you. We're attacking the lies that have been taught to us. That's what we're attacking. Yes. And it's not necessarily, it's not y'all's fault. This didn't start to you. This didn't start with you. This started to you, folks. So that's what we're saying here. We're just enlightening things, but we're also laughing with it because it's me and her friendship. We laugh.
Almost everything is a joke. Almost everything.
Oh my gosh! And like, speaking of like the lies that we've been taught, like something that I could have added towards, you know, when we were talking about like, you know, genders being a man-made construct, and just because we were taught something. So this is that. Just because we don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true.
That part.
Right?
That part, yes.
Yeah, I was like,
yes.
I can believe that, like, you know, just like, I can believe that, you know, discrimination against gay people doesn't happen, that doesn't make it any less true than it is, because it does happen, whether I choose to believe it or not, you know what I mean, or choose to,
Yeah. And in that way, it's like, it's an opinion. Like, it's your opinion that discrimination doesn't happen against gay people. But there's a distinction between an opinion and a fact, right? The fact is that it does happen. Your opinion is that it doesn't. And maybe it's because you don't see it, or you try not to see it, you try not to give that attention. But the fact is still over here. It's happening. And it does happen. It's happened for too long. Too long.
A lot of by the ones who are hiding it, they just, have their fun in the dark. And also, like you said, fact or opinion. The fact is, gender is a man-made construct that keeps changing. And opinion is there are only two genders. But that's not.
Yes.
That's literally not the fact. I'm just like, do y'all's research, Google it, look at the definition of what gender is, look at the definition of what sex is, look at the difference between those definitions, we interlock those, and it's just like, no, the fact is, gender is a man-made construct.
That's something that you can choose,
Right,
like
exactly.
You can't. You can choose how you want to express your gender.
Rather than having society choose for us. I'm like, what?
Or sign it at birth, like with the pink and blue, said boy is a girl, trucks and flowers. It's like, who knows if the baby girl is gonna like pink and flowers? I never liked pink.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Ever. And that may be because it was always, okay, I do. Give me a cuter color, a softer color than pink. Ugh. Maybe it's because, and maybe I don't like it so much because it's always been thrown on me.
That's why I love the color pink, because it goes against like the blue that was thrown at me.
Thrown on you. Yes. And all that like assigning stuff and coming back to nuclear family, it's dwindling away. Because we don't have a pink mom and a blue dad. We may have a blue mom and a blue dad. Okay? She's just a little bit more masculine in her energy. She's a little bit less feminine, but that still works. Or you may have a purple dad, who's masculine and feminine. He has them both.
Yes.
And bring that balance.
Yes, exactly.
So we really could just do away with the two sexes. Yes. Well, actually, there's three. Because as you said, you can be both. You can be both.
That is the reality. They don't like the people. Society does not like to talk about that. Those people, they're very just overlooked, And I'm like, folks, the fact literally is that, there are people that are born both sexes. What about them?
Yeah, like, what did they do?
Yeah.
Are they male or female? Someone has to decide which bathroom they go to. Someone has to decide, but not really. Like, they can choose.
Right.
They can decide. Oh, I identify or feel like more of a girl, traditional girl, whatever the fuck, or I feel like a boy. I feel like even if you don't have both sets of genitalia, there's that kind of battle at some point in a kid's life where it's like, well, my mom dresses me like a boy, but I kind of identify a little bit more with my girlfriends. I have more girlfriends. I like the dolls that my little sister has, or I like the dresses that my mom wears. So it's like, why at that point is it fair to that child, if we're supposed to be a loving parent, to say, no, you're not gonna wear my dresses, no, you're not gonna play with your sister's toys. They're just like, they're kids.
Yeah. And it's not like men don't like boys. It's not like they don't like dolls necessarily. It's more so because I'm talking about like me. I'm just like, it's more so it's like, you know, they hide it and just stay away from it because that's what they were taught. Even though deep down it's cool because it's like, it's not like when you're in your mother's belly or whatever. It's not like your DNA is saying, okay, you can't like dolls. No, it's like you come to society and society says, I'm already gonna put limitations on you.
And let you not do X, Y, and Z. I'm not gonna let you have emotions, or learn empathy, or learn how to keep a house clean, or clean up after yourself.
Right.
Why is it that in a nuclear family setting, like traditional setting, that men don't know how to clean?
Right. Clean them dishes.
Like at some point, didn't you live by yourself? Do you have your mom come to your house, to your apartment, to clean it?
Yeah.
Every time it needed to be cleaned? No, at some point you'd clean it, right?
Right.
That's a skill.
Right.
To be healthy.
Right.
So why does that knowledge just drop off whenever you get a wife? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's not clicking.
Right.
And I think a lot more women now are getting totally fed up with it. They're divorcing their asses. Or they're like, look, you're gonna step up. Yeah. You're gonna have to step it up. Point blank period.
Right. Step it down.
There's so many TikToks that are like, the husbands don't do anything in the house.
Right.
And the woman is like tired of like asking them, complaining, just like, why can't you just do a little bit? And then whenever they do, it's like, hey, well, what do you want me to do? That's not healthy.
Right.
Asking what do you want me to do when you can see 10 things that need to be done.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait. I remember hearing, I'm not even going to get too into the story because it pissed me off to no end. It wasn't my barber. It was this barbershop that I went to a couple times, and I definitely stopped going. This is like a couple years ago, and one of the barbers, toxic masculinity, just reeking off of him. Just, you could tell he's been limited, he's been suppressing things. You could just tell he's trying his best to continue to fit in the box. He was saying how a woman should conform to a man, like she needs to cook for me and stuff. And I'm in my head like, okay, you don't have 2 hands to cook, and I'm just like, what if you could be a great cook? You better cook.
Yeah.
I'm like, experience and yeah, like she's her own person. And at the end of the day, she doesn't have to be with you. She can choose to say no any moment. So it's like, sir, be humble.
Be humble before you get humbled.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We don't like goodness. It does not feel good when you're on Pride Mountain and you get hit with humbleness. Oh.
That fall is hard.
It falls.
It is hard.
Pride just gets higher and higher and higher. And I was just like, eventually, I mean, I don't want you to fuck around and find out, you know what I mean? You can continue on this trajectory. I mean, maybe a lot of people, maybe a good amount of people do, politicians. You know, they continue on that trajectory of pride and just safety, you know, but any day, you know, a scandal could come out, even though there's tons of scandals that are hidden. But I was like, a scandal could come out and
take it all away.
Because they know they got them scandals.
Oh yeah.
They know.
So many secrets.
Exactly. Ooh, sign an NDA, and I'm just like, because there's something that they don't want something to know. I was like,
and that goes back to like keeping the public ignorant. Like, these secrets, like, I bet if we knew, would make us feel and think differently about the government and our officials and politicians. And that's not what they want. Because if we know how they're abusing their power and we take it away, that means no more money for them. And they're not going to let that happen.
Exactly. That's the thing. A lot of these, politicians, and I'm not singling anyone out, I'm saying politicians, all of them.
All of them.
Nobody's safe right now in this comment, in this discussion. Nobody's safe. A lot of them, they don't really care about us. They're just playing our biases, so that they can continue to get money, and I'm just like, I wonder if I actually, hung out with, these politicians, that I, praise, would I even actually like their genuine personality? Like, would I even like them as a friend? Would I even like them as a person? You know what I mean? Screw what we see on TV. Like, if we genuinely got to know these people as just people, would I even like them? Like, if they weren't in this political seat, if they were just like a professor at school, would I even like them? Would that be that type of professor where I'm like, don't take them, he doesn't listen to the students, he's rude, and they don't like us, they don't hang around us middle class and lower class folk in their everyday life. They wouldn't give us the time of the day, but
because they're on that pedestal, on that pride mountain.
Right. They don't like middle class, lower class people. They only think it, and I'm not saying this is every single person. Let me just say that. It's wrong for me to generalize. But when I said nobody's safe in this discussion, I meant, just to clarify for the folks in I meant that I'm not saying, this Republican or this Democrat. I'm just like, no, I think both sides have, folks that don't really care about people. They just care about money. And so they're tailoring to folks' biases. They're tailoring to their party's biases. And so they're limiting themselves, so that they can keep others happy.
Yeah, and keep themselves happy.
Yeah.
With that bank roll. I was going to say bank check. Bank roll.
Right. Exactly. So I'm just like, they're just playing each other. They're literally playing each other. They're like, honestly.
And they're playing us too.
Yeah.
And they're playing us. Oh.
Yeah. We're all just like, you know what? Like, here's, you take my piece, and the transaction is you be president. Or between the politicians and the people, on the flip side, they're like, okay, I'll give you some of my freedom so that I can have your money. And by some of their freedom, I mean, like, let's say if a politician, I'm not going to say one's name, I don't know what they're going to do. But he actually was for masks at first when the pandemic started, but his party and the people who vote for the party were not for masks. So he had to, tailor to the
readjust.
He's all like, in public, I won't wear a mask. I'm gonna risk my safety and my freedom, my true self, my freedom of choice. He's like, it's what it seems like. It's like that transaction. Okay, the risk-reward ratio.
Yeah.
Money. I can get tons of money by just, risking my freedom and my safety for just a public appearance for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing each other. Everybody's playing everybody. Nobody's safe.
Everybody.
Everybody's playing.
If and I love how you keep saying limits and limitations, because I think that may be like the roots to the nuclear family.
Yeah.
Is that people are trying to limit other people, and probably, most likely, specifically women. Like, rules. So, like, a woman is only good for having kids and keeping up with the house, cooking, taking care of the man in her life. That's very limiting for a woman. And also for a man, for him his only value in a family is to bring home money and maybe have a gun to protect them, you know, that kind of thing. Like, that's so limiting. Now people, they have their hands and feet and toes in every little pool.
Right.
Like my partner, he's the cook.
Yes.
I can cook. Yes. Oh, but he does it so well, and he likes it, and he enjoys it. So, like, why am I gonna fight over that?
Right.
You know, like, oh, it's the woman's job. Let me cook for you.
Right.
You got it. You got it, sir.
Exactly.
You got
it's
it.
Just like, you know, back then, he wouldn't be able to discover that he likes cooking. He wouldn't be able to discover that he can actually throw down in the kitchen. And something that you mentioned on limits made me think of something. You know, and this definitely involves the nuclear family as well. I love that you keep, you know, bringing it back, because you know I can get off topic. You know I go all over the place. So thank
I'm
you
just
for
finding the little points.
Yes, thank you.
The little ties to bring it back.
Bring it back, yeah. You know, limits. A lot of what limits are good for is control. You know, limits for a lot of things is a great control method, and what limits do psychologically over time is it's a suppression tool.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know, encourage us
to grow.
Exactly, to grow, to thrive. And I think the higher ups, I think they want it like that.
Yes.
They want all the power. Limitation, control, and power, they are besties.
Yes. Wow, that's an awesome connection. That is an awesome connection.
It's unfortunately true. It's just unfortunately true. So they're just like, you know, back then, you know, this is all a woman could do: have kids, cook, you know, clean the house, raise the kids, you know, and that psychologically implies, you know, and teaches people without outright just saying in your face. It can teach them, okay, you know, no woman should be in power.
Yeah.
You know, no woman should be, you know, CEO. No woman. You know what I mean? That's what that's been teaching. And I'm so glad that, you know, our generation especially, you know, we're able to, and though there are some things our generation, I don't know, sometimes I don't like our generation, but I can say that our generation, Gen Zs, you know, I do applaud, you know, our ability to break limits, you know, and break stereotypes.
Agreed.
Because breaking limits is doing. It is also breaking control. It's breaking suppression. It's breaking power that has been taught to us by a higher government.
Yes.
This is global government, by the way, folks. These limits, it's
honestly
people controlled. It's to keep them, you know, monitored, to keep them divided and separated, you know, divide and conquer, control and conquer, you know, it all happens, control and conquer. So we're doing our thing here, folks. Go Gen Z. They're scared of us.
They really are scared.
They really are.
And that just oh no, my hair is stuck in my ear. That made me kind of think about how you said, like, yeah, this is a global thing. Like, this isn't just America necessarily. But, like, what's one thing that also has, like, a global reach other than our democracy? Religion.
That's a whole, that's a whole other episode. Speak, Queen. I'm here for it.
Yes, because they love to use religion as a form of control as well. Because I don't know how long it's been that they've been taking, like, at least for example, the Bible as literal.
Right.
Instead of just, like, maybe stories
and
that we can learn from.
Symbolism, exactly.
And symbolism. they're taking it as fact.
Which is mostly, the Bible is mostly dreams and journal entries. Literally.
Wow.
And now I know some information on the Bible that would piss a lot of people off who, prize the Bible and stuff like that. It's just that, things have been changed, revised, quote unquote, many times in the Bible, and it was for political, gain, control, and power. The Bible that we see today is not the Bible that, was first. In fact, I actually have the first Bible. It's so much love in there. But
really,
guess what was the first change to the Bible? Well, a lot of people are gonna be mad. And now this is the thing, folks. This is gonna feel uncomfortable, and it's gonna make you want to project, because what you already knew is now being challenged. Notice, folks, that this didn't start with you. This started to you. So what I'm about to say next, I can encourage you to do your own research, folks. If you have a connection with, Jesus or your higher power, I think it's not a bad thing that you just, try to get to know him more, and you can do that through this, because there are certain things that, the higher power gave us. By the way, God is the biggest they, them ever, because God himself is not an entity. He's only called Father because that is symbolic. Fun fact. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know that.
Love that.
Yeah, God doesn't have a gender or sex. Jesus, that's different. But God himself or itself, it's literally, he's the biggest, the entity is the biggest they, them ever. But anyways, folks, so what started the change of the Bible is,
let us know.
Exactly. Was the Council of Nicaea in the year 325 AD, so the 4th century. Mind you, bunch of corrupt politicians, all males. Not everyone was corrupt, but guess who got the order together, and guess who led the Council of Nicaea? It was Constantine, or was it? I think it was Constantine. Whoever it was, he didn't even believe in the Christian God. He believed in the sun god. He was a Roman. He believed in a sun god that has nothing to do with Christianity. And he gathered the Council of Nicaea together because he wanted to implement some of the, aspects and qualities of his sun god into the Bible. So fun fact, the Old Testament was never a part of the Bible to begin with. It just wasn't. Even Apostle Paul was saying, do not put this in the Bible. This is not supposed to be. So that's the thing, and I got reference, but and then we got King James. We got the Second Council of Nicaea. We got Martin Luther. We got all these revisions, all these corrupt political revisions, and I'm just like, folks, this is what this gets me. There has been limitations, and now that folks know this information, they're going to challenge it. They're going to be like, no, this is what the Bible says. No, go and look what the Bible originally says, because you're just reading a translation. I'm like, one of the biggest changes in the Bible was 1936, was when they added the word homosexuality. That didn't even mean same sex anyways. Homosexuality meant the study of human sex, because we are Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens. Yeah.
It's basically sex education. It's the first word of sex. And the word's not even English. The word is German.
Whoa.
People are annoying. And when the Bible said, first of all, the Old Testament wasn't even supposed to be in the Bible, but when it said, man shall not lie with man, no. That's not what that originally said. It said, man shall not lie with little boys. Why? Because it was normal back then for rich people to sleep with children. And it was a religious practice, not of a Christian religion, but a religious practice for men to sleep with little boys as well. So it was like, you know, it's just and crazy, and then it's like that's the context of it, you know, and also the context was also under the realm of thou shalt not worship another god, you know. So yeah, it was just, that's what that is. So it's just like there was never this whole, you know, sexual orientation labels back then. That never existed. Like, for example,
it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Oh my god, or Eve and Eva. I'm like, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. You know, and so mind blown, right? Like, mind blown.
Yes.
Shit has been changed, and it puts limits, and it creates division, and division is control, divide and conquer, control and conquer, limit so that you can lead. That's what that is. Religion, it's there's definitely some government control. That's why I want people to grow spiritually outside of the realm of religion. That's not saying, oh, people worship a different god than your faith. No. It's saying, you know, get to know your higher power for yourself.
Yeah, don't let anyone else tell you what you should feel or what you should know or what you should think about these certain things because you're a part of this community.
Just because we don't believe something doesn't mean
it's not true. So, topic 1 done.
Like, it seems like we just preached a sermon of honesty.
I feel like we just solved half of the world's problems.
You did. You brought it up, and I just yeah.
You hammered it home. Oh my gosh.
We just solved half of the world's problems. And this is going to be, understandably, someone listening to this is going to be uncomfortable. It's understandable they're going to get mad at this because, you know, of course, something that you've been taught your whole life as right, when it's challenged, it can be hard to unlearn things. You know, it can be hard to see, because it's just like, I was taught, you know, for example, like, people can be taught, oh, to hate Muslims. Like, I was taught to hate Muslims.
Yeah.
And when Muslims...
Unfortunately.
Yeah, right? And when people who are Muslim or of the Islamic faith as well, you know, they were always so nice to me. Christians weren't nice to me. But those of the Islamic faith and Muslims, they were so nice to me. And so I encountered that challenge, you know, because I'm just like, this is what I believe, but this is what I'm seeing.
Experiencing.
Exactly. So I'm just like, I don't need to hate these people, you know? It's not okay, you know what I mean? It's just like, they're human beings and they love me and I love them, and, you know, nothing should separate us. You know what I mean? I'm just like, at the end of the day, we are all human beings, beautiful human beings.
And spiritual, full of life. Everyone has that ability to connect with their spirituality, like with the, whatever higher power you want to call it. Because, you know, when you really think about it, there's probably like 100 different religions, but they all boil down to the same thing. Like one entity being the most powerful, the all-seeing.
Right.
He moves, or they move in a way that we can't explain, but we can feel it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And we should normalize, I guess, being open-minded, or just like allowing yourself to experience what you're experiencing and internalize it. Because like if, say, you were like a different person and you were taught to dislike Muslims, and you see all of them they're just nice people, they're normal people. Like, if you weren't open-minded and had an open heart, you would be like, okay, well, maybe this one is nice, but all of them, the rest are still bad. Still don't like any of them. You know, like, it was challenged, your belief was challenged, but you still, for whatever reason, wanted to stay with your belief. It is okay for two things to be true at once. Or, you know, like, it's okay for you to you know, maybe realize that one thing that you did believe wasn't the full truth, or it's not what the reality is right now. You know?
You just preached. Exactly. And I think a lot of it also is like people fear being open-minded because it's been such a comfort zone, the beliefs that they were taught, and it's that fear if those beliefs are taken away, they have no more foundation, and that they're going to fall into the hole.
And they want to know who they are. It's like,
I'm just like, maybe you're supposed to continue to learn who you are, continue to grow who you are, because the you now might not be the you in 2 years from now. Continue to learn, grow, and evolve. Love yourself enough to set yourself free.
Yes, don't let those limitations hold you back.
Right. Now, there's this guy who's sexually fluid, which 98% of humanity is sexually fluid. We're just taught to suppress it. Look at what's his name?
This is like Indiana, or like, you know.
Right. When people say, because my best friend had told me, well, there's more gay people in Portland than like here in Indiana, because that's where I was going to grad school at last year, and I was like, well, no, that's because Portland has an environment where, you know, being yourself is encouraged. There's less limits in that arena than there is, because like everywhere has its limits, you know, but it's like limits can look different. So it's just like, the limits of, you gotta suppress this, you can't be this way. That's not how it is in Portland. It's like, be yourself, and you know, therefore people are more willing to be themselves. There's less to hide what they, you know, are having or feeling inside, because they're giving that safe space, they're giving that environment to do so.
Right, then in places like Indiana, who are like, you know, country, maybe on the Bible Belt, you know, those limits are strong. So you must suppress, or else you will or can be hurt, either emotionally or physically.
Right.
Both are bad. Both are very bad and have lasting effects. Like, maybe you won't get beat up, but like years of bullying,
right?
Those internal scars, no joke. No joke.
1000%.